She stood trembling at the edge of the grand engagement hall, clutching a heavy tray with shaking hands. No one noticed her except the woman about to marry her son. When the old woman whispered, "My arms are tired," laughter followed. But seconds later, a powerful voice shattered the room, stopping the music, the smiles, and the future itself. What happened next revealed a truth no one was ready to face, and changed every life in that room forever. The crystal chandeliers glowed like stars trapped indoors, reflecting wealth, power, and celebration. The engagement party of Daniel Cross, the self-made millionaire, was the kind of event people whispered about for years. Every guest wore elegance like armor. Every laugh sounded practiced. Every smile hid a motive. Near the service entrance stood an elderly woman named Margaret. Her back was bent, her shoes worn thin, her gray hair tied neatly as if dignity were the only thing she still owned. In her hands, she carried a tray heavy with silver glasses. Her arms trembled, but she said nothing. She had learned long ago that silence was safer. Margaret wasn't hired help. She wasn't invited either. She was there because Daniel's fiancée, Vanessa, insisted that everyone should earn their place. And Margaret, Daniel's own mother, had agreed. Vanessa noticed Margaret falter and sighed loudly. "Please don't embarrass us," she said under her breath, her smile never leaving her face. Guests nearby chuckled, assuming the old woman was just another clumsy worker. Margaret's arms burned. Her heart ached more. She leaned closer and whispered, barely audible, "My arms are tired, dear." Vanessa's eyes hardened. "Then don't stand in the way," she snapped, turning back to her guests. The music swelled. Laughter returned. And Margaret stood there, invisible, until the tray slipped. The sound of shattering glass cut through the hall like a scream. Time froze, and then, from across the room, a voice thundered, "Stop!" Daniel Cross dropped his glass and ran. Daniel reached Margaret just as she collapsed to her knees, tears streaking her lined face. He knelt beside her without hesitation, ignoring the gasps, the whispers, the cameras. He wrapped his arms around her like a frightened child clinging to home. "Mom," he said softly. "Why didn't you tell me?" The room went silent. Vanessa's smile vanished. "Daniel, you said your mother was what?" Daniel snapped, standing now, fury and heartbreak in his eyes. "Too poor? Too embarrassing? Too invisible for your perfect world?" He turned to the guests, his voice shaking but strong. "This woman worked 2 jobs, cleaned houses at night, and skipped meals so I could study. When I had nothing, she had less, and still gave me everything." Margaret tried to speak, but tears choked her words. Daniel held her hands. "You never have to carry anything again," he said. "Not pain. Not shame. Not silence." Vanessa stammered, "I didn't know." "You didn't want to know," Daniel replied. "Because knowing would have required kindness." He removed the engagement ring and placed it gently on the table. "This ends tonight." The guests watched in stunned silence as Daniel helped his mother stand. He didn't rush her. He didn't look away. He walked her slowly, proudly, out of the hall, past the wealth, the judgment, the broken glass. Outside, the night air was cool and quiet. Margaret looked up at her son. "I didn't want to be a burden," she whispered. Daniel smiled through tears. "You were never a burden. You were my foundation." That night, Daniel didn't lose a fiancée, he reclaimed his humanity. And everyone who witnessed it learned a truth money can never buy: success means nothing if it costs you compassion. The strongest arms aren't the ones that carry wealth, but the ones that once carried you, even when they were tired.